Dave, the times for the Ironman and the age groupers in general has really improved so much over the years with better training, better nutrition, new techniques, better equipment, perhaps. What's your view on, you asked me just now about retirement, whether I'm retiring. I don't plan to, but how old you think a person can actually go on and do an Ironman relatively comfortably, well into his 60s or 70s?
Well, you kind of answered the first part of it. The background that people come into the sport is the first reflection on their potential. So it kind of depends on what your athletic background is, and also whether or not you've stayed fit over the years or decades. And there's a lot of athletes that possibly were fit in their teens and 20s, and then they have a hiatus for 25 years and they eat terribly and gain a lot of weight, and all of a sudden they're motivated to come back. And a number of those athletes that do that are able to develop their skills, and the skill set for triathletes is very broad, as you know, to be accomplished biomechanically, swim, bike, run, to monitor your nutrition is really huge, not just your daily intake, but also train race intake, and whether or not you've maintained your mobility and flexibility, and also strength, which is a real problem. When you get into your late 40s and 50s, without doing anything, there's a term called sarcopenia, which is muscle wasting or muscle loss. And a lot of athletes have this. And then all of a sudden, and I'll come back to your earlier comment, they end up doing a lot of mileage and they end up getting leaner, but they lose lean muscle mass as well. So, quite often their performance can go up when they initially start, they lose weight and they lose lean muscle tissue, and then their recovery is compromised. A lot of times their immune system is compromised. So, if athletes are judicious about monitoring all those factors, and you mentioned most of them, I think athletes can improve for a long time. If you look at the seasoned athletes, and I'll use myself just for a minute, that have been doing it for a long time and never really stopped, I hear this sort of false notion that age is just a number. It is just a number, but there is an aging decline that everyone faces. The loss is really minimal if you stay after it. In other words, if looking at lean muscle mass or cardiovascular fitness, cardiorespiratory fitness, you can maintain that, quite well if you're diligent about doing it. So even athletes that have a long history, the fall off is a lot less. And we're seeing this in the sport. Athletes that have maintained that were professionals, and now they're 55 years old. A lot of them are doing very well.